What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my bookish world. Today I'm going to be doing my second quarterly wrap-up of 2019. Here comes the dog because she's heard my voice. So I don't remember how many books I've read this year. It's been quite a few. I think it's been a few more than what I read during the first part of the year. But yeah, let's just get into it because I have a lot of books to talk about and I have a dog. Hi, Sades. Can you go lie down? Go lie down. You're making the focus go away. Okay. Okay, so the first book I read was Moonlight Scandals by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the third book in the D. Vincent trilogy. The first two books being Moonlight Sins and Moonlight Seduction. So I finished off this trilogy this year. I really enjoyed this book. I think I gave it a 4 stars. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say. I gave it a 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. It was probably my favorite out of the series. I just really loved the main character, and I think it was really cool to see this very mysterious guy who is kind of called like the devil to see him become so soft and so caring. So I really enjoyed it. Would really recommend it if you're looking for some nice smut. The next book I read was actually a novella, and that is Dream of You, a Wait For You novella by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This follows some characters that I think we see in the series, but it's just like a little novella of them falling in love, and it's also a little smutty, probably not as good as this, but I ended up giving this a 4 stars. I really enjoyed it, would recommend, especially if you love that series. The entire series follows like a different couple, but they're all interconnected, so they can be read as standalones. But yeah. The next book I read was The Mermaid Returns. The Mermaid's Voice returns in this one by Amanda Lovelace. I also gave this a 4 stars. This is a poetry book. It is the last in the Women Are Some Kind of Magic series. The first one being The Princess saves herself in this one, and the second one being The Witch Burns in this one, I think is what it's called. Yeah, anyway. So I really enjoyed this. Trigger warnings for, let me see if I can find the page. No, I can't. Trigger warnings for child abuse, gun violence, intimate partner abuse, sexual assault, eating disorder, self-harm, suicide, alcohol, trauma, death, violence, and fire, and possibly more. So if any of those things trigger you, I would not read this, but if you are comfortable reading this, then I definitely would recommend it. I had a lot of 4 stars these last 3 months. So the next book I read was Define Me by Tahira Mafi. This is the 5th book. My goodness, math. The 5th book in the Shatter Me series. This one was definitely not my favorite. I gave her Stormy 5 stars, for instance. I only gave this one 4 stars. But this series follows a girl named Juliet who is able to kill people with her touch, and there's a romance, hate to love, all those kind of things. I really recommend the series. It's definitely one that is very easy and addicting to read. So yeah. The next book I read was actually I read off of my phone. It was a novella. I read Shadow Me, which is the Shadow Me, which is a Shatter Me novella. This follows Kenji's perspective, basically, of the events right at the end of Restore Me and the events in Define Me. I did read this after Define Me. I know, how horrible, but honestly, I don't think it really matters. I still would recommend it, though, for sure. And I gave that 4 stars. The next book I read was The Red Scrolls of Magic by Cassandra Clare and Wesley Chu. This is a new series in the Wicked Powers? Eldest Curses. This is the Eldest Curses following Magnus and Alec. I think this is going to be a trilogy, although I'm not really sure. I really enjoyed this. I gave this a 4 stars. See what I mean? Lots of 4 stars. Sorry. But yeah, I definitely really recommend this if you love Magnus and Alec. This takes place, I think, during the events between, I think, City of Fallen Angels and City of Lost Souls. I don't remember exactly, but this does, like, fast forward towards into the Mortal Instruments series, so you don't have to read the Dark Artifices to read this. And then the next book I read was also a poetry book, and this is To Make Monsters Out of Girls by Amanda Lovelace. I also gave this 4 stars. I can't remember if this is going to be a series. I know that, I don't know. I know there's going to be another book that has a title similar to this one, but yeah. There are also trigger warnings for this. The trigger warnings are intimate partner abuse, eating disorders, self-harm, cheating, alcohol, religion, death, gore, fire, blood, and possibly more. So again, if you have any sensitivities or triggers towards these issues, I would not recommend it. But if not, if you are comfortable with these issues, I would definitely recommend it. It was a really great poetry book. I really enjoyed it. The next book I read was How to Make a Wish by Ashley Herring Blake. This is a female-female romance. I gave it 4 stars. This follows a girl who I can't remember the name of, who basically, her mom starts dating this new guy, and stuff happens, and she meets this girl who's moving in with her best friend, I think, and yeah, I don't remember the rest, but it was really good. I recommend it. Yeah, go ahead and read it. I think it's really good. And I really loved the other book that I can't think of. What's the other name of the book? Oh, the Girl Made of Stars. I also really loved that by her, although I have not read any other books, but I'm hoping to eventually. The next book I read was Speak by Laurie Halse Anderson. This was a reread for me, and this time around I gave it 3 stars. I'm actually going to be unhauling this very soon. I think part of the reason that I didn't enjoy this as much is because I don't feel like I relate to this book anymore. I feel like I know where I belong. I found a place with people that I belong with, and you know, that might change eventually, but that was one of the main things of why I related to this book so much, is because I got it, you know, I got her pain in a way. Also, trigger warnings for sexual assault. I do think this is a good book for middle schoolers and high schoolers to read, because I think it's just very important. It's just a little young for me, so yeah. And then the next book I read was The Prince, which is a Wicked novella by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is after the Wicked trilogy. There is going to be a sequel to this that actually comes out next month called The King. Well, it'll be this month by the time the video goes up, but it's next month right now. So I really enjoyed this one. I also gave it 4 stars. I'm so happy that we're having a sequel because of the way that it ended. I couldn't deal with it. So yeah. Then the next book I read was Tempting the Best Man by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I gave this 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. This probably wasn't my favorite. No, I think this was my favorite one. This was my favorite one for sure. I noticed, and I'll talk about it with the next 2 books, but I noticed when I was reading this series, this trilogy, that as we got down, the men in the series, the main men in the series, got cringier and cringier. So this was definitely my favorite. I really enjoyed the story. My favorite thing is that it's not just the romance. It's not the main focus of the story. There's also a little bit more to it. But the smut is very good, and I do recommend it if you're looking for that. The next book I read was Heretics Anonymous by Katie Henry. This was my first read. I gave this 4.5 stars. This book is so good. So good. I was originally going to DNF it, but I'm so glad I didn't because I just enjoyed it. I have a feeling everybody knows what this book is about because Emma Books has raved about it and so many other people have raved about it. But if you don't know, it follows an atheist named Michael, who goes to a Catholic high school, and he meets some people who have different beliefs within the school, and so they make a club called Heretics Anonymous. And yeah, there's romance, there's just such a good story, and I just think that if you really like religion, or if you're interested in religion, you're gonna love this. The next book I read was Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia. I also gave this 4 stars. I think I gave it 4 stars, not 4.5. But I really enjoyed this book. It definitely invoked a lot of anxiety for me, since it does deal with anxiety, but I did really enjoy it. I just think that if you're going through a bad spot, maybe don't read it. But yeah, I loved seeing the drawings, I loved the story, I loved the romance. Again, I feel like everybody knows what this book is about, so go check it out. I think it has a good representation for anxiety. The next book I read was Tempting the Player by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I gave this one 5 stars as well. This is the second book in the Gamble Brothers trilogy. I loved this one as well. I think the story was really great. Like I said, I think that these guys just get so much cringier throughout each book. So he was a little cringy, not the worst though. But I still really adored the story. I definitely had a like what the heck moment at the end, because the way that they admitted their feelings to each other was a little rushed, and yeah. It was a little cheesy and a little insta-lovey, but overall I enjoyed it. The next book I read was Tempting the Bodyguard by Jennifer L. Armentrout, the third and final book in the Gamble Brothers trilogy. I ended up giving this one 5 stars. This one was probably the cringiest out of the 3. There were some lines that Chandler Gamble said that like kind of made me want to poke my eyes out, and I can't believe that somebody would actually say. And like at one point I was like, these are there's a little problematic aspect in each of them, but they were also published in 2012, so I think for their time they did really well. But like they're just so cringy. Like the guys are just so cringy, some of the stuff that they said. I'm pretty sure in this book he compared this girl's moan to a cocktail, an erotic cocktail, and I was like, oh, that's not cute. And there were some lines in this book that like I can't even explain. And then the next book I read was also a reread, and that was Paper Princess by Erin Watch. This is the first book in the Royals trilogy. I think when I first read this, I gave this a 5 stars, but I ended up giving this a 4 stars now. It's funny because I read some of the reviews before actually picking the book back up again, and I agree with a lot of the reviews. Basically, the story is about a girl named Ella who finds out that this man, Callum Royal, is now her legal guardian since her mom and her dad have both died. And she moves in with him and his 5 sons. And there's a lot of hate to love, hate to friendship, I don't know. I think that there is so much more, like, romance and so much more of a connection with the character that she doesn't end up with. And I'm kind of like, girl, what are you doing? Yeah. So, but I still really enjoyed it. It's a fast and easy read, a little bit of smut. I think it gets smuttier as the next books go on, but I guess you'll have to wait to hear my next review to find out. And then the last book that I read in the month of is Angel Fall, and I think that I gave this a 4 or 4.5 stars by Susan E. I really enjoyed this. This is the first book in the Penryn and the End of Days trilogy. I read this a few years back, and I absolutely adored it. And I got them for my birthday this year, so I decided to do a reread of them. And like I said, I adored it. I read this in like 2 days. I loved it so much. It's short and sweet, and it's fast-paced, and it's so good. And it's basically about this girl named Penryn who sister gets taken away by these angels, and she meets this angel who has lost his wings, and they're both just trying to get back to the home base of where the angels come from to accomplish their mission, and I loved it. I totally recommend it. It's such a good dystopian fantasy thriller romance type book. So yeah. And then I will have finished this book by the time this video comes out, but at the moment I'm still currently reading it because it is June like 24th when I'm filming this video, so I'm sorry. But I'm currently reading Ghosts of the Shadow Market by Cassandra Clare, Sarah Reese Brennan, Maureen Johnson, Kelly Link, and Robin Wasserman, which is a collection of novellas by these authors that take place in the Shadowhunters universe. Like I said, I'm currently reading this. I will put in the description below, or I'll mention it in my next book haul, what my rating is, but I'm pretty positive it's just going to be a 4 stars, like pretty much every book that I read by, like every novella that I ever read by Cassandra Clare is 4 stars. It will probably be a 4 stars. But yeah, I'll put it in the description. I just didn't have any other time to film. And yeah. So that's it for this video. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Let me know if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them. And don't forget to follow my social media. That's Twitter, Instagram, and Goodreads. And I will see you guys all next time. Goodbye! Stop licking my phone.